What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about here on a daily basis. And as inflation is wreaking havoc across our entire country, and it's maybe eased a little bit in some categories like gasoline, it's actually increased in categories like food. We actually seen the at-home food inflation category go up to 13.1% here. It's actually really gotten a lot worse here. In food inflation and food costs here are at all-time highs here in the US and across the world. We're seeing food costs at the highest they have ever been in the entire world here. So yeah, it's really gotten bad here. And as we're seeing this, we're seeing millions of people and dozens of states here actually introduce their own stimulus checks here. As you can see here, these 16 states are issuing additional stimulus checks to qualifying residents. We'll go over here right now. And we also have the possibility of federal stimulus checks here coming again as this recession gets worse and inflation continues on as we get closer and closer to the midterm elections. And even potentially after the midterm elections, depending on the makeup of Congress, what the House and the Senate ends up being, the potential for that here even after that. So the longer inflation goes on, the worse it gets. We could see even more and more checks come here on the federal level, on the state level. We've seen a couple states issue multiple checks. Like Indiana has now confirmed 2 different checks here. So we have a lot of different states issuing checks and maybe even on the federal level. So let's jump right in here right now. And if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure to click the subscribe button down below. It's completely free to do so, and click the bell icon so you get notifications when we go live here every day, and so you don't miss out on new videos. It's completely free to do so. And if you find these videos helpful, don't forget to hit the like button for us as well. Here we go. First state here, California. Governor Gavin Newsom shared in late June that millions of Californians would start receiving inflation relief checks later this year as part of a new tax rebate plan geared towards helping the middle and lower class. According to the Franchise Tax Board website, qualifying individuals will receive up to $1,050. And this comes as California sent out stimulus checks last year as well. They have a $97 billion surplus, almost $100 billion. The way the $1,050 in inflation relief stimulus checks works out is basically up to $350 per person. So if you're an adult, $350 as long as you make below, I think it's $150,000. If you make over that, you can get a reduced check of $250 or $200. But most people will qualify for the $350. So $350 for an adult. If you're a married couple, $350 or $700. And if you have children, $350 per child with a maximum of $1,050 for a family. So you can get up to 3 checks of $350 or maximum of $1,050. So if you're a single parent and you have 2 children, you can again get up to the maximum of $1,050, $350 per person, maximum $1,050 for California. They're saying that over 23 million people are going to be receiving these checks, and they're going to go out as early as next month. So I will keep you up to date here on this as well. The state of Colorado, the Colorado cash back bill was signed on in May, giving Colorado residents cash back as long as they were considered full year residents of the state in 2021 and at least 18 years old. The chance to collect a tax rebate of $750 for individual tax filers or $1,500 for joint filers. Not a bad payday, right? $1,500. As long as you filed your Colorado state income tax by June 30th, you should receive your check by September 30th, which is not that far away. according to the State Department of Revenue website. Those with extended tax deadlines in October 22nd should receive theirs by January 31st. Quote, note this is not a stimulus check, but rather a tax refund. For a lot of people, there won't be much of a difference. Quote, Delaware, in May, Delaware Relief Rebate Program was signed into law by Governor John Carney, allowing for a one-time $300 payment to be made to each of the state's adult residents. $300 per person. Must have filed 2021 state tax returns by the due date and don't need to do anything more to receive it. So that would be $600 for married couples. Checks are being issued throughout the summer, according to Delaware's Department of Finance website. The state of Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis, who is one of the front runners for the Republican Party for the next presidential run, along with former President Donald Trump, announced $450 one-time checks, but only to 59,000 families with children that are foster parents or caregivers on state residence programs. He's also sent out some checks to teachers and other people here as well for $1,000 here previously. Hopefully, there will be more here for the state of Florida as well. In Georgia, Governor Brian Kemp signed into law a tax refund aimed at helping Georgia residents handle the ever-rising cost increase. Those who filed single or separately eligible to receive $250, while residents who filed as head of household get $375, and married couples filing jointly will receive $500 in the state of Georgia. These payments will be issued here this month, and for those who filed their taxes by the 2022 deadline. So let me know if you got that here this month. Those started going out here about now. So maybe some people have started receiving that here in Georgia here, maybe around now. The state of Hawaii, Aloha, here in June, Governor David Ige approved the measure to refund each resident of Hawaii $300 based on their income for most people that make less than $100,000. If they make over that, they can get $100 per person. Yeah, so $300 per person unless they make over that. The same amounts will be given to married couples, which is $300 per person, or a total of $600, I believe. There is also checks in this for taxpayers and their dependents as well, as you can see here on the screen. This means under the plan, a family of four could receive up to $1,200. Lawmakers say they were able to afford the payments thanks to the state's $2 billion budget surplus. Checks will be issued in late August, according to the state of Hawaii's Department of Taxation. The state of Idaho has already sent out one-time tax rebates of $75 or 12% of their state tax returns. That has already gone out. The state of Illinois residents began to see the results of the state's $1.83 billion family relief plan, which launched early in July and includes the suspension of a 1% sales tax on groceries, which will go for a year, all the way until June 30th, 2023, as well as a reduction in sales tax as part of the back-to-school shopping holiday, and a gas tax increase suspension that will take place in July and will be moved till January 2023. There's also income tax rebate checks being issued as well for filers who make under $200,000. Will be $50 per adult and $100 per dependent as well. You can get, I believe, up to $300 total there. There's also an Illinois property tax rebate, which could provide several $100s as well for property owners in that package as well. The state of Indiana approved a one-time $125 one-time taxpayer refund to residents. That was approved. They have now just also approved a new $200 payment in addition to that. You can see Governor Eric Holcomb says, I proudly signed legislation that returns $1 billion back to Hoosier taxpayers as well. This includes an additional $200 check in there as well and should start rolling out on August 15th. Maine has approved a stimulus check that is $850 per person and $1,700 per married couple. These have gone out to most people, but if you haven't filed your income tax return for the state, you can still do so by October 31st, as long as you have made under $100,000 individual or $200,000 married filing jointly. You can still do so. Now, that's a lot of money. It's up to $1,700 for a married couple. Massachusetts recently failed to approve $250 stimulus checks for qualifying residents, but there's likely going to be a check anyways because of a 1986 Massachusetts law that has to return excess tax revenue to the taxpayers. This means that many residents will get a share of the approximate $2.5 billion surplus cash the state's collected anyways, which the governor says that there will likely be a refund anyways, which is about $250 for someone who makes around $75,000 per year anyways. Coming soon. I'll keep you up to date. State of New Jersey has signed, issued checks of up to $500 as part of the middle class tax rebate. They have also announced plans for new rebates of up to $1,500 for eligible families paying property taxes, which would also include renters. The measure has yet to be passed, so hopefully will be coming soon. I will keep you up to date here. State of New Mexico has issued multiple checks of $500 and $250. They've kind of gone out here in several batches. If you're from New Mexico, you're probably aware of this. They've gone out a couple different kind of batches of $250 here. Those who have already filed their 2021 tax returns. And another income tax rebate is also being sent out. The first half was already paid out in June, while the last half will be paid out in August. State of Oregon, residents that qualified for a recent one-time assistance check received them by July 31st. The $600 checks were delivered to low-income residents who met the following criteria: received the Oregon Earned Income Tax Credit, EITC, also known as the Adult Tax Credit, on their 2020 tax filing and lived in Oregon for the last 6 months of 2020. South Carolina eligible residents will soon receive up to $800 in tax rebate thanks to a new bill signed by the governor. Rebates are being awarded per person no matter how they filed their tax return. The delivery of those checks is planned for November and hopefully maybe even a little sooner. I'll keep you up to date here. The Virginia residents who had a tax liability last year are eligible to receive up to $500 as part of the state's one-time tax rebate program. $250 for those who filed individually and $500 for those who filed jointly. And with the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022 now passed, sending it to President Biden's desk, one of the major provisions in this bill is for clean energy, green energy, and to reduce energy bills for Americans. And a lot of people always think of this with like wind power and solar power, but it's not just that. It also includes nuclear power here as well. And included in this bill does include massive funding, billions and billions of dollars for the nuclear industry. You could see here directly from Forbes, the Inflation Reduction Act contains a tax credit that will subsidize existing nuclear power plants with an estimated $30 billion over the next 10 years, according to the Congressional Budget Office. And Democrats' goal is to give a boost to nuclear power a carbon free source of electricity, helping the US reduce reliance on fossil fuels and bring down greenhouse gas emissions. When President Biden now signs this bill into law, nuclear power plants would automatically now be eligible for a credit of zero point 0.3 cents per kilowatt hour, a measure of electricity production. The Congressional Research Service reports, but plants that pay wages similar to or higher than the surrounding area could get as high as 1.5 cent per kilowatt, 5 times more, which also could end up saving Americans money the more nuclear power is produced here in the United States. And actually, right now, as you can see here, 20% of the power of the United States is produced by nuclear power plants, as you can see here, as of 2021. And based on this bill, we might be seeing a lot more go forward, especially as the government wants to move forward towards clean energy. And one of the key ingredients for nuclear power plants is uranium. But the vast majority of uranium is imported, and Congress, you can tell, is going to want American companies to bring this in, as opposed to right now, a lot of this actually comes from Russia and Kazakhstan. And while we know the problems with Russia right now, and we certainly can't rely on them, which is one of the reasons why I'm very bullish on Uranium Energy Corporation, which is on the New York Stock Exchange, ticker symbol UEC. And Russia has made it impossible for foreign leaders to trust, which makes the US in dire need of its own uranium production for these nuclear reactors. And according to the Nuclear Energy Institute, the US saved more than 471 million tons of carbon dioxide emissions in 2020 from nuclear reactors. So they can save a lot of pollution while also producing a lot of energy. And get this, a typical 1,000 megawatt nuclear facility in the United States needs a little more than 1 square mile to operate, where solar energy needs 75 times that amount of space. Now, Uranium Energy Corp's crown jewel is the Burke Hollow ISR project in South Texas. Yeah, the good old USA, right? The newest and largest ISR well field being developed in the US. And as you can see, by owning shares of UEC, you also own indirect ownership of the only uranium royalty company in the world as well, Uranium Royalty Corp. When I look at the way that this opportunity is shaping up, with the stock market currently on a big rally and this new bill now passing, Democrats and Republicans want a secured supply of uranium, and they don't want to get it from Russia or Kazakhstan. They want to get it from the USA and from a USA company. And nuclear power is already the second largest source of power in the United States, and it's carbon free power, it's non pollution. UEC, which is headquartered in Texas, is the largest American uranium mining company. And it's one of the fastest growing 100% unhedged pure play of uranium businesses listed on the New York Stock Exchanges right now. And get this, they have a strong balance sheet. They have $182 million of cash, liquid assets, and no debt. And as you can see here, UEC has recently submitted an offer to the US government to supply the uranium reserve. And we're looking forward to our production ready projects providing future needs of the uranium reserve, as well as the utility industry for the US government. Yeah. So, in my opinion, there's huge upside for Uranium Energy Corporation who is the sponsor of this video. As always, do your own due diligence and make sure you check them out here on the New York Stock Exchange. Their stock has been performing unbelievably well here this year. But again, you got to do your own due diligence if you want to check out their company. And I will keep you up to date here with everything going on here in our country on a daily basis. And now that this new Inflation Reduction Act has passed, the energy sector is going to be probably on fire. So I'll keep you up to date here with everything going on here on a daily basis. Make sure to subscribe down below. It's completely free to do so. I'll keep you up to date here. You can click here to watch my newest video next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.